Okay, sure. But one thing's for sure. There's a reason why I brought this book back up. This book doesn't help the situation any better. It doesn't. Even if it's real or fake, this information in this book makes people start asking even more questions. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't blame the Tupac Shakur family for saying, "Hey, we need to reopen that investigation. We need to reopen that case and investigate that stuff all over again because something ain't right. Something's rotten, right?" So, in my personal opinion, do you blame them? I think not. I say a big no. Now, real quick, because I want to share this with you guys. Family is hiring investigators to find the link to Sean Diddy's home in Tupac's unaliving. Yes, I'm just gonna, because it just sounds so good. Yeah, think about that though. Hold on, let's just look at a little bit of this, okay? So, high-profile New York attorney. Hold on, let me pull this up. High-profile New York attorney has confirmed to Court TV that he has been shout out to Court TV because they in the house as well. Okay. Yeah, that is you guys. Yay. Yes, Hercules. Yeah. Yeah, Court TV. We see you out here in these streets. We see you, Court TV. Okay, I approve this message. Okay, so they're in the house. So show them some love. Give them some purple heart emojis. Okay. Yeah, they get credit for this, of course. Obviously. Okay. Because it says it right there above. Just so you guys know. But anyway, let's get back into this, okay? Confirmed to Court TV, this high-profile New York attorney has confirmed to Court TV that he has been hired by the family of rapper Tupac Shakur to investigate a possible link between his actual unaliving and Sean Diddy Combs. Combs is currently facing, we already know about all this ish, okay? Clearly, he's an interesting one, right? We already know about all that. But just a quick little, recap. Shakur was gunned down in 1996 while driving in Sin City, Las Vegas, and his homicide remained unsolved until Keefe D, Dwayne Keefe D,
Yes.
was arrested and charged with his unaliving in 2023.
You told me don't tell him the
Shakur
time because you said you wanted to surprise him.
is M.
So I just told him this today.
Of being involved in the planning, like he did. He actually said these things. Okay? A detective, in fact, before the grand jury was indicted, Davis said that Marion, or Suge Knight, all right, the infamous Suge Knight, who was also injured in this Pew Pewing, okay, that took the life of Tupac, allegedly told people that Combs was, quote unquote, responsible, if not directly, indirectly, for the end of his good friend. Now, of course, Combs is locked up right now. Okay, uh, he's he's having a he's having quite a couple weeks. He's having quite a having quite the year, to be completely honest. But now, let's be real. He's in he's having a hell of a week or hell of a year, y'all. And now he might be connected to Tupac Shakur's murder. What? So, without further ado, I gotta bring on our friend, okay, a friend of the show. She's been on the show a billion times before, not a billion times, but she's been on enough for y'all to know who she is, okay? She's incredible, she's awesome, she's very informative, all right? She's also a lawyer, so don't mess with her. She might bite back hard with a lawsuit, okay? But please welcome our friend Andrea Burkhart to the show. Hi, how you doing, girl?
Hey, Pascal. So good to be back. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You get a new camera? Did you
I
get a new
did.
camera? It looks clean. Look at that, guys. Looks clean.
Thank you.
Nice camera. No, damn. Okay, so first off, thank you so much for being here. It really does mean a lot. It means the world to us because I'm I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV, but I definitely would love to know this situation, and of course, hearing your thoughts on this. Okay, so he caught, and his unaliving, right? This tragedy that happened. I guess the question still remains, like, what do you think? Well, first off, let's start here. Okay, what are your thoughts on the family wanting to reopen the case and investigate to see if there's any connection between Diddy and Tupac and this whole crime that happened?
I gotta tell you, I'm really not surprised at all to see that happen.
All right.
Hang on
Probably
now.
heading out. Give him a chance to wash him up.
Okay, so what time you heading out?
Probably between probably about 9:30 or 10.
Okay.
Happen, mainly just because of the whole swirl of activity that has been surrounding Diddy for the past several months, year or so, with this investigation going on, particularly at the criminal level. I was kind of waiting for this, honestly, as soon as I heard about the KPD arrest.
Yeah.
And just that whole connection being apparently validated enough for the charge to be brought. I know we're still waiting on trial on that one, but
Yeah, no doubt. But here's the thing, though. Okay, so you were waiting for Diddy to start getting caught up in this situation when Keefy D got arrested. Is it because Keefy D said what he said? Or is it just because you just know Diddy is the diddler?
Well, Diddy, I was gonna when I was listening to your intro and you're talking about are there actually tapes here, I was gonna point out Diddy has been at this long enough. Yeah, there probably are.
Yeah, you're right. There's probably VHS tapes. You know what I'm saying? He got some on Laserdisc. You know what I'm saying? Sitting right next to his Laserdisc collection of Star Wars or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
The reason why my mind instantly went there is because of course, just ever since it happened, there's been so much speculation about Biggie and Bad Boy Records and the connection, potential connection there, and that's just on top of the things that Keefy D had said about what happened. Now, like you pointed out, there might be some issues with Keefy D, and I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but that's certainly something that the family is going to want an answer to that. They're going to want to know. And so what's happened now in these last 6 months or so since Cassie's lawsuit dropped is that there's just there's been this explosion of investigative activity around Diddy happening both in civil court and in criminal court. And so both of those are having discovery processes going on and all kinds of information suddenly becoming available, but they would never have had any basis to go after any of that before these suits were filed. So there's just a lot more information now and evidence about Diddy's activities and who he told what and all of that kind of thing that's becoming available to all types of different people. And that's what I suspect this investigation is really going to be focused on, is trying to hunt down as much of that as they can.
I am kind of curious though. Okay, you have Keefy D out here, talking wild, right? He's talking a little wireless. He's out here saying things that he may be lying, he may be telling the truth. I don't know, but why? I guess in a way, it's like, why would he? This is why it's laughable to me, because he's out here going, yeah, he asked me to do it, and then he gets locked up, and he's like, no, never mind, I was just joking. And it's like, make up your mind. Did you really? Are you really involved?
Yeah.
Or no, why would you lie about that? And why would you even remotely lie about it? You see what I'm saying? It just
whenever anybody asks me why would somebody lie to the police, and my answer is always because they're telling the police what they want to hear. That's what the police want to hear. And so I can absolutely 100% imagine a scenario where the police, want to get some link to Diddy. They're trying to get this from KPD. I don't know. Is it just me? I'm skeptical. Like, why is Diddy talking to KPD? Like, are these guys these guys are tight. Like I don't know. I'm having a hard time just kind of buying that. Like, why is it you don't know who you are? You know, you're some dude on the streets down Compton. So like, what's the connection there? If that can be substantiated, then obviously I think that gives him a lot. There, it gives us a lot more reason to think that his original story was credible. And that's the kind of thing that, again, now because there's all this digital discovery, devices seized, and evidence potentially available, that type of thing can now be looked into. They can look for evidence of those types of contacts and stuff like that.
You know, well, that's the thing. I am kind of curious because it just doesn't make. For me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, the math seems to not be mathing, right? It just some ain't right here to me. But then I understand that, of course, you got Diddy on the plate. Okay, he's on the chopping block right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see why any person, shoot, open up the investigation into the death of Biggie Smalls as well.
Yeah.
Why not? The reason why I say this, and of course, again, this book I don't believe to be real. Okay, I don't think this is a true book. But there's things in this book that any person, okay, that loved Biggie, that loved Tupac, loved them both. It doesn't matter. They're gonna see this book and go, yeah, no. If it's claimed in the book, whether or not it's real, it could inspire people to say, no, we need to talk. Law enforcement needs to look into this, and we need to do some due diligence into the situation. I can see people unearthing both cases, and the families wanting to unearth both cases so that they get the proper justice that's rightfully deserved. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think these are just because these are crimes that have gone unsolved for so long. There's always, of course, a desire for closure, and the families, I think, are naturally gonna want to pursue any angle that looks like it might lead to some kind of productive furthering of the investigation. So yeah, that means even if this particular book isn't factual, or a lot of the stuff can't be verified or whatever, it may nevertheless give you a little bit of a roadmap about things like who to talk to, what sorts of subjects to be talking about, dates, places, things like that. So yeah, it's just all part of this flood. That the strange thing to me about this case is just the correlation of how much seemed to be like everybody knew it. This is out in the open, and like in some ways it doesn't really seem to be news. At the same time that like these other pieces getting pieced back together are still very opaque.
Yeah, and I keep on wondering, where can we get more? Where can they get more proof? Okay, you got Keefe D out here saying it at one time, right? He says this thing and admits that, or says at least, that Diddy was involved in this. But then he, of course, takes back what he said later on. In my mind, I'm wondering, okay, is that enough evidence to really go after somebody who clearly is on the chopping block right now? Yes, we have found that alley, that the chink in his armor, right, to really attack him in any sort of way, other than just the 120 victims and 13 lawsuits that have already been filed, right? So could this just be a situation where they're like, well, I mean, since he's already here, might as well just rip him apart right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
everything, right?
I can see that. I mean, because part of the issue too with all of this and with the Tupac stuff getting opened back up is because you have to assume, okay, the feds have had all of this stuff. They've had his computers, things like that. If they're able to track down, like I don't know, some old phone call between Diddy and Keefe D, then we would have probably seen some action on that. We would have seen some kind of criminal, they're not going to like not pursue a murder charge just because they already have him on all of this other, trafficking stuff. So I would expect that if that kind of evidence had become available, that we would have already seen it emerge in the criminal process. But again, you just don't know, and there's a lot of kind of complicating factors in the situation too. With some of the people who might have information that are not necessarily going to be so inclined to talk to the feds or to talk to law enforcement in general, might be more inclined to be cooperative with people that are associated with the family.
I see. I see. So then, what do you see? What do you expect next? I mean, obviously, this is just being like, they're hiring some investigators to find if there's any link between Diddy Diddy and Tupac's demise. But what do you think is like the next step here? Because I guess I keep wondering how they actually going to find, without a shadow of a doubt,
Mhm.
that Diddy really did put a hit out on Tupac. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big issue's got to be corroboration, the ability to corroborate that. Is anybody else going to come forward and confirm that information? Are they able to substantiate it with some other type of record, a digital record, a
Yeah.
contact, a photograph of them at the restaurant, something along those lines. And just so, yeah, with a mountain of stuff that you have to assume has become recently available. It's just it can take a lot of time to get through a lot of that stuff. But that's what I expect. Is really what they're focusing on. Now, I want to point out the attorney that the family has hired here, Alex Spiro. He is indeed a very high-profile attorney. He was Alec Baldwin's lawyer over there in New Mexico. He's the one that got Alec Baldwin, got him off, got the case dismissed. I think I just saw him on the steps with the New York mayor over there that just got charged with stuff. So he's obviously very familiar with this landscape. He's got all kinds of connections. I think if I recall right, he's a former federal prosecutor himself. And so,
But he's representing. You're saying he's representing Diddy.
no, he's representing Tupac's family. He's the attorney that they hired. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. At least that's what I saw. I think I had read that. I
Wow,
saw it
that's
released somewhere.
But that's very interesting. So Tupac.
Yeah.
So Tupac's family hired the same lawyer that was representing Alec Baldwin during that whole
Yes.
this situation over there.
Yes.
And of course, he was
Yes.
acquitted and all that as well, which was a wild case or
That was a wild.
well, that was some pretty crazy stuff. But that's very interesting, though. That
Yeah.
he's going to be involved for Tupac's family. That's very
And
good
so
stuff.
I bring that up too because he's obviously got he's very successful in that Alec Baldwin case. And part of that because he has a very aggressive approach. He's a real pugilistic style of attorney. And so it just may be a situation where they're looking for somebody who is going to be able to go out and knock heads and push people around a little bit to get them to tell you what anything that you can get to help you substantiate that connection a little bit more. Because remember, to pursue wrongful death in a civil case, it's nowhere near the level of the burden of proof to convict him criminally. And so that's another wrinkle in all of this. I had mentioned, like, if evidence were there, maybe it would be criminal, but it's also possible there are little bits and pieces, but just not enough, to be able to rise to the standard for a criminal prosecution, but still enough to tend to implicate, tend to suggest he did it for purposes of a civil judgment. So that's going to be really the job in all of this is just trying to gather as much as they can, sorting through the noise, and seeing if they can substantiate that connection.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Real quick, I have a couple of super chats here, though. Nicole B said Tupac and Relentless have the same story, which I had somebody a few days ago. He goes by Relentless Aaron. He spoke about being chased through the streets of New York. He almost lost his life from Diddy and a bunch of his goons, like driving high-speed chase through the city of New York. Way back in the early 90s. And yeah, I mean, it is kind of like, maybe it's maybe it's like that, maybe it's not. Again, we don't know if Diddy has anything to do with the demise of Diddy. But this guy was being chased by Diddy in So that's very, very interesting. Jacqueline, thank you so much. Good evening, Pastor. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And of course, shout out to Andrea for coming on and giving us some more information and all that. Okay, showing some love to her YouTube channel. I'll make sure to plug that in a second here as well. Carmen Eyes, thank you so much, Master. Like, or I'm telling your mama. Exactly. Please and thank you, okay? But before we continue on, guys, do me a favor. If you're watching on any of these platforms, hit that reaction button, hit that follow button. If you're watching on Rumble, what's up, Rumble fam? Please be sure to follow me over there. Hit that follow. Hit it, hit it, hit it. We cover a lot of things on this platform. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on other platforms like